Imagine living each day without feeling the need to justify your choices, your dreams, or who you are. Imagine walking through life with a quiet confidence, knowing that you don't owe anyone an explanation, not for your goals, your beliefs, or the way you live. But be honest, how many times have you found yourself explaining your decisions just to be accepted? How many times have you held back your true self to avoid judgment or keep the peace? When you always feel the need to explain yourself, you give away your power. You start living for others, not for yourself. You begin to doubt your path, question your instincts, and rely on the approval of people who don't walk in your shoes. Today, that ends, because you're going to learn 14 powerful Stoic truths that will help you stop explaining, start owning your life, and move with strength and silence. These are not just ideas. They are tools used by some of the strongest minds in history to stay calm, clear, and unshaken, no matter what others said or thought. After this video, you will never look at validation the same way again. But first, I want you to make a promise to yourself. Write in the comments, "I don't need permission." You won't just be writing words, you'll be rewiring your mind to stop seeking approval and start trusting yourself. The more you say it, the more it becomes who you are. So write it down now, and let's begin. Number 1. Approval is a transaction. Don't barter with your soul. Stop. You don't need their permission. You don't need their applause. You don't need to explain every decision you make just to feel accepted. That's not freedom. That's slavery dressed as kindness. You were not created to live under someone else's opinion. You were created to live in truth. Every time you change who you are to please someone, you're making a trade. You are giving away a piece of your soul in exchange for a nod, a smile, a shallow, "I get it." And what do you get in return? Nothing that lasts. Approval is short, it fades. People forget. Then you have to chase it all over again. It's a trap, and too many people live their whole lives inside it. Ask yourself, how much of what you do is because you want it, and how much is because you're afraid of what they'll say if you don't? When you dress a certain way, is it because it's who you are, or because you want to be seen a certain way? When you say yes to something you hate, is it because you're excited, or because you're afraid to look selfish? That's what Stoicism cuts through. The noise, the fear, the lies we tell ourselves to stay comfortable. A Stoic doesn't beg for approval. A Stoic acts from reason, from principle, from purpose. They do not live to impress, they live to become. Think of Epictetus. He was born a slave, but his mind was never in chains. He didn't seek the approval of the rich or the powerful. He focused on one thing, living with virtue. That's it. That's all that mattered, and because of that his name is still remembered, while the people who once owned him are forgotten. When you trade your peace for approval, you are saying, "Your opinion of me is more important than my own." That's not strength. That's surrender. And the worst part? No matter how hard you try, it's never enough. Someone will always disapprove. Someone will always have a problem. Someone will always question your choices. So what will you do? Keep changing? Keep apologizing? Keep reshaping yourself until you forget what your own voice sounds like? No. You stop. You take a breath. You remember, I don't need their permission to live my truth. Every time you act for approval, ask yourself, what am I giving up right now? Because something is always being traded. Your time, your energy, your confidence, your voice. Sometimes your entire identity. And once you give too much, it's hard to get it back. The Stoics knew this. They taught that the only approval that matters is your own. Are you proud of yourself? Are you aligned with your values? Are you living with intention? If the answer is yes, you don't need to explain yourself to anyone. Not your parents, not your friends, not strangers online. No one. Your value isn't up for discussion. Your purpose isn't a group project. And your soul isn't for sale. So stop trying to be understood by people who were never meant to walk your path. Stop giving away your joy in exchange for being liked. Stop explaining every move like you're on trial. You're not. You are free. Live that way. Walk that way. Speak that way. And when the voice in your head tries to make you doubt yourself, when it says, "What will they think?" answer it with this: it doesn't matter. Because it doesn't. Not if you're living right. Not if you're walking with purpose. Not if you're building a life that reflects who you truly are. Approval is a transaction, and your soul is not for trade. Number 2, do not debate your integrity. If you know who you are, you don't need to explain it. If you live with honesty, with discipline, with truth, then let your actions speak. You are not here to defend yourself against every doubt. You are not here to convince people of your goodness, your values, or your reasons. Integrity doesn't need an audience. It only needs consistency. People will question you. That's guaranteed. They'll misunderstand you, twist your words, doubt your motives, accuse you of things that don't reflect who you are. And in that moment, you will feel the urge to defend yourself, to argue, to explain, to prove that you are not what they say you are. But stop right there. That urge is the trap. That moment is the test. When you try to defend your character to people who are already committed to misunderstanding you, you lose. You waste your time, your breath, your peace, and worst of all, you give them power over how you feel about yourself. Ask yourself, if I've done nothing wrong, why do I feel the need to argue? If my actions are in line with my values, why do I feel pressure to convince anyone? Here's what the Stoics knew. You are responsible for your actions, not for what others think about them. You can control your choices, your values, your words. You cannot control how people interpret them. And trying to do so is like chasing smoke. Let your life be the proof. Let your discipline be your answer. Let your calm silence be louder than their noise. You don't have to say, "I'm honest." Just live honestly. You don't have to say, "I'm loyal." Just be loyal. You don't have to say, "I'm trying." Just keep trying. That's how you win. Think of Marcus Aurelius. He ruled an empire, fought wars, faced betrayal, and still found time to write quietly to himself about staying grounded, humble, fair, and just. He never needed to convince the people that he was good. He focused only on being good. That's the mindset. Do the work, hold the standard, walk the path, and leave the rest. Because debating your integrity pulls you away from your integrity. It drags you into pointless conversations, emotional traps, and ego battles you were never meant to fight. It distracts you from your purpose. It makes you focus more on being seen as good than actually being good. The truth? Not everyone will like you. Not everyone will trust you. Not everyone will see the full picture of who you are. And that's okay. You're not here to be seen. You're here to become. You are not your reputation. You are your values, your discipline, your private choices. The things you do when no one is watching. That's what matters. Not what people say. Not what they assume. Not what rumors spread behind your back. Hold your ground. Say less. Do more. Let your name be attached to action, not defense. Let people wonder how you stay so composed. Let them question why you don't engage. Let them whisper. Let them guess. That's not your concern. Your concern is character. Your concern is principle. Your concern is doing what is right, not what is popular, not what is easy, and definitely not what is explainable to everyone else. So the next time someone tries to pull you into doubt, stay still. The next time someone questions your motives, stay calm. The next time someone challenges your truth, stay silent. And let your life speak louder than your words ever could. Your integrity is not a debate. It is a decision. Make it, live it, and never argue it. Number 3, avoid emotional exhibitionism. Control yourself. That's the heart of Stoicism. Not because emotions are bad, but because letting them spill out all over the place is. You are not your outbursts. You are not your impulses. You are not your bad day. And you are definitely not your Instagram story full of rants and raw feelings. You're more than that. You're stronger than that. But strength without control is chaos, and a Stoic doesn't live in chaos. They rise above it. We live in a time where people are rewarded for sharing everything they feel, every frustration, every tear, every mood swing, as if spilling your emotions into the world somehow makes you brave. But that's not bravery. That's reaction. That's noise. That's weakness pretending to be authenticity. Stoicism teaches something else. Feel it, but don't feed it. Experience the storm, but don't let it sink your ship. And most importantly, don't make your emotions someone else's responsibility. Ask yourself, who benefits when I explode in public? Who gains when I post my anger online? Who wins when I snap in a conversation just to feel heard? The answer is no one. Not them, not you. Your emotions are signals. They tell you something is wrong, something needs attention. But they are not commands. You don't have to obey every feeling that passes through you. Anger doesn't have to become yelling. Sadness doesn't have to become a performance. Frustration doesn't have to become destruction. You can feel it and keep it in your hands, not in your mouth. That's real power. Epictetus said, "Any person capable of angering you becomes your master." Think about that. Every time you lash out, cry out, shout out, someone else is pulling your strings. You've handed over your peace. You've become predictable, reactive, easy to provoke. And when you become easy to provoke, you become easy to control. Don't be controlled, be composed. That doesn't mean you suppress everything. It means you filter. You step back. You observe your emotions instead of broadcasting them. You go for a walk. You journal. You reflect. You speak when the fire has cooled, not when it's burning, because words spoken in heat are rarely wise, and emotions displayed without direction often create damage that takes days or years to undo. So practice this. Next time you feel the urge to express your pain, pause. Not everything needs to be posted. Not everything needs to be shared. Not everything needs to be said. Just because you feel something strongly doesn't mean it needs to become public property. Let the world wonder what you're thinking. Let them guess how you're feeling. Mystery is strength. Silence is discipline. And peace is found in the spaces where you choose to hold back. It's easy to be loud. It's easy to be messy. It's easy to let your emotions pour out. But the person who can feel deeply and still speak calmly, that's the one in control. You don't need applause for your struggles. You don't need sympathy for your storms. You just need clarity, stillness, strength. So stop performing your emotions. Start mastering them. You are not here to be a spectacle. You are here to be solid. You are not here to impress with pain. You are here to impress with power. You are not here to react. You are here to rise. Feel everything, show very little, and let the results do the talking. Number 4. Withdraw from praise as you would from insults. Praise feels good. It lifts you. It feeds your ego. It makes you feel seen, respected, validated. But here's the truth. Praise is just as dangerous as insult, because both can control you. If you live for compliments, you will die by criticism. If you rise because of applause, you will fall in silence. A Stoic doesn't chase praise. A Stoic doesn't need it. A Stoic is steady, whether they are being admired or ignored. Because true strength is not in being liked, it's in being unshaken. Ask yourself this: why do you want to be praised? What are you really hoping for when you seek recognition, validation, attention? Are you doing the right thing? Or are you doing what will get you claps? Are you chasing purpose or chasing approval in disguise? It's easy to say you're focused, easy to say you're humble. But the moment people start praising you, your mind changes. You start watching their reactions. You start choosing your words based on what will make them like you more. You start thinking more about appearances than truth. That's the trap. That's where you lose control. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about your neighbors. Be indifferent to what makes them praise or blame you." He ruled Rome, the most powerful man in the world, and still he reminded himself not to depend on what others said about him. Why? Because praise is just another chain, only softer. When someone insults you, you feel the sting. You fight back. You try to prove them wrong. That's a trap. But when someone praises you, you relax. You lean into it. You enjoy it. That's a trap too. Both take your eyes off your path. Both make you forget your values. Both put your peace in someone else's hands. The wise path. Step back from both. Treat praise like you treat insult, with distance, with silence, with stillness. Let it pass like the wind. When someone tells you you're amazing, thank them, but don't hold it. Don't replay it in your head. Don't build your self-worth around it, because the same voice that lifts you today might tear you down tomorrow. Don't be addicted to approval, even the sweet kind. This doesn't mean you ignore feedback. It means you filter it. You use what helps you grow and release what only feeds your pride. You keep doing what's right, whether people notice or not, whether they clap or not, whether they remember your name or forget it tomorrow. Let your reward be in the work itself. Let your peace come from knowing you did what was honest, what was just, what was aligned with your values, not what made people cheer. You don't need to be admired, you need to be consistent. Because when you need praise, you become easy to control. People can manipulate you with compliments. They can use flattery to steer your choices. They can make you addicted to the high of being noticed and fearful of the silence that follows. That's not freedom. That's dependence. So train yourself. Stay level. When the applause comes, nod and keep walking. When the insult comes, nod and keep walking. Do not speed up. Do not slow down. Keep your pace. Keep your focus. Keep your integrity. The Stoic walks forward, whether the crowd is behind him or not. Let others chase praise. Let others chase fame. You chase truth. And when the noise rises, step back. Withdraw. Not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. Because praise and insult are just different masks worn by the same thing, the opinions of others, and you were never meant to live under them. Number 5. No one is owed your narrative. You don't have to explain your story to anyone. Not your past, not your pain, not your healing, not your reasons. You are not a documentary. You are not a confession booth. You are not obligated to open your life like a book for others to read and judge. If they ask, you don't have to answer. If they demand, you don't have to respond. And if they assume, let them. You owe people respect. You owe them honesty. But you do not owe them access to every chapter of your life. We live in a world obsessed with telling everything. People share every thought, every struggle, every moment, believing that being real means being fully exposed. But exposure is not the same as truth, and openness without boundaries is not strength, it's surrender. You can be strong, honest, kind, and still private. You can walk with integrity and still keep certain parts of your life locked behind closed doors. That's not dishonesty, that's self-respect. Ask yourself, why do I feel the need to explain? What do I gain from retelling my pain to people who may never understand it? What do I lose every time I hand out pieces of my past like gifts to people who haven't earned my trust? When you tell your story to everyone, you give them the power to reshape it, to twist it, to reduce it, to use it against you. That's not protection, that's exposure without purpose. The Stoics didn't live loudly, they lived wisely. They understood that not every truth needs to be told to everyone, that your inner life, your thoughts, your decisions, your growth is sacred, and sacred things are not for public display. Marcus Aurelius wrote privately to himself, not for fame or followers, but for clarity. Epictetus taught that we must focus on our own judgments, not on defending them to others. Their power was in their restraint, not in how much they shared. So you must learn to hold your story with care. Your story is yours. You decide who sees it, when, and how much. Some people only want your narrative to satisfy their curiosity. Some want it to feel superior. Some just want to see if you'll break. That's not trust, that's performance. And you're not here to perform. Protect your peace. Guard your growth. Keep sacred what has made you who you are. It's okay to say, that's not something I want to talk about. It's okay to say, that part of my life is personal. It's okay to keep your healing private. It's okay to grow in silence. You don't need to post every breakthrough. You don't need to share every setback. You don't need to cry on command or bleed for attention. Let your actions speak. Let your calm speak. Let your life speak. Because the strongest people aren't the ones shouting their stories. They're the ones living them, quietly, clearly, with intention. And when the time is right, and the person is right, and the reason is right, you'll know when to share. But until then, remember, no one is owed your narrative. No one is entitled to your past. And your story, your full, complex, powerful story, is not a public property. It is a privilege. Only a few should earn it. And you decide who those few are. Number 6. Truth does not need witnesses. Stand in truth, even when no one sees it, even when no one claps for it, even when everyone doubts it. Because truth, real truth, doesn't depend on being believed. It just is. It doesn't need defense. It doesn't need a crowd. It doesn't need you to prove it over and over again. But most people don't live that way. They want others to know they're being honest. They want others to see their good intentions. They want others to say, you're right. So they explain, they argue, They repeat themselves until they're exhausted. But all that noise, it comes from fear, not truth. The moment you feel the urge to prove your truth, pause. Ask yourself, do I need to be right or do I need to be real? Because the two are not the same. Being real means acting with integrity even if no one applauds, even if they accuse, even if they misunderstand. Being right, on the other hand, often becomes about ego, about winning the argument, not walking in alignment. Stoicism teaches you this: let your truth be enough for you. Let your conscience be your only witness. If you are acting justly, speaking honestly, and living with discipline, then you owe no one a performance. The right people will see. The wrong ones don't matter. Marcus Aurelius said, "Just that you do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter." That's the mindset. Do right, be honest, and let the world catch up or not. You are not a courtroom. You are not on trial. You don't need to gather character witnesses every time someone questions you. Let your life be the testimony. Let your consistency be the record. And let your peace be the closing argument. Think about nature. The sun rises whether or not anyone thanks it. The wind blows even if no one listens. The tree grows even if no one is watching. Why? Because it's true to its nature. It doesn't perform, it just is. You must be the same. If you help someone and they lie about it, stay silent. You know the truth. If you do good and they ignore it, don't complain. You didn't do it for them. If someone twists your words, stay calm. Time will correct what ego distorts, because the truth always rises. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but it always comes back around. Your job is not to rush it. Your job is not to market it. Your job is to live it. The need to be seen as honest is just vanity in disguise. Let it go. Live in a way that even if your whole life were hidden from the world, you would still be proud of it. That is real strength. That is real freedom. To look in the mirror and know, I was honest, even when it cost me. I was consistent, even when no one noticed. I stood firm, even when I stood alone. So let others talk. Let them doubt. Let them assume. You don't need to correct them. You don't need to explain. You need to walk your path and walk it well. Because truth doesn't need a stage. It doesn't need approval. It doesn't need witnesses. It only needs you to live it, to protect it, to become it. Number 7, be indifferent to misinterpretation. People will misunderstand you. No matter how clearly you speak, how kindly you act, or how pure your intentions are, someone, somewhere, will twist it. They'll hear what they want to hear. They'll project their own fears, their own insecurities, their own judgments onto your words. And you know what? That's not your problem. You are not responsible for other people's assumptions. You are not here to correct every wrong conclusion. You are not a translator for minds that are already closed. If you spend your life trying to make everyone understand you, you'll end up exhausted, anxious, and stuck in a cycle that never ends. Let them misunderstand. Let them assume. Let them get it wrong. Because their misunderstanding does not change your truth. Stoicism teaches you to separate what you can control from what you can't. You can control your actions, your words, your effort. But how someone receives it, that's their work, not yours. The moment you start chasing every misinterpretation, you lose sight of your path. You become reactive, defensive, distracted. Ask yourself, what am I really trying to prove? If I've spoken with clarity, if I've acted with integrity, if I've stayed true to my values, Why should I care if someone gets it wrong? Marcus Aurelius reminded himself again and again, if anyone can refute me, show me I'm making a mistake or looking at things from the wrong perspective, I'll gladly change. It's the truth I'm after. Notice what he didn't say. He didn't say, I will convince everyone. He said, I will listen to what's true. That's the difference. You don't ignore honest feedback, but you also don't bend for every opinion. Most people don't want to understand. They want to confirm their own story. So if they've decided you're arrogant, cold, selfish, they will find a way to twist even your best intentions to match that idea. Don't fight it. Don't explain. Don't beg to be seen correctly. That's ego. Let it go. Let your actions speak over time. Let your consistency do the explaining. Let your results be your answer. And if they still misunderstand you, accept it. Not with anger, not with bitterness, but with indifference, because that's where freedom lives, not in changing every mind, but in not needing to. When you stop fearing misinterpretation, you move differently. You speak with more courage. You act with more clarity. You walk with more peace. You stop tiptoeing around people's feelings and start standing firmly in your truth. That's what Stoicism looks like. Calm, clear, focused. You don't waste time defending what doesn't need defense. You don't explain what is already rooted in principle. You don't dilute your truth to avoid offense. And the moment you accept that not everyone will get you, that's when you start to get yourself. So walk forward. Let them guess. Let them talk. Let them label. Let them whisper. You are not their version of you. You are not their misunderstanding. You are who you choose to be, regardless of what they see. And when they get it wrong, smile, be still, and keep going. Because the Stoic way is not to be perfectly understood. The Stoic way is to be perfectly unmoved. Number 8. Stillness is the sharpest response. You don't always need to react. You don't always need to speak. You don't always need to prove that you're calm, wise, or unbothered. If you truly are, you won't have to show it. Stillness will do that for you. When someone offends you, insults you, misunderstands you, what's your first instinct? To fire back, to defend yourself, to explain. That's natural, but natural doesn't always mean wise. In fact, that first reaction is often your ego trying to win a fight that doesn't even matter. Stillness wins where words fail. The world teaches you to respond fast, to clap back, to speak louder, to fight for the last word. But Stoicism teaches you the opposite. Slow down. Be still. Let the storm pass. Not everything requires a reaction, and not every reaction makes things better. Stillness is not weakness. It's strength under control. It says, I see the chaos, but I refuse to join it. It says, you cannot shake me by shouting, insulting, or provoking. I am not yours to move. Think of a sharp blade. It doesn't swing wildly. It rests in its sheath until it's needed. Its sharpness isn't in how often it cuts, but in how precise it is when it does. Stillness is like that. It's quiet power. It's unshaken clarity. So the next time someone tests you, pause. Don't match their energy. Don't let their emotions dictate your behavior. Instead, stay still. Let the silence do the talking. Let your composure be the answer. That silence will echo louder than any argument you could have made. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." You may not be able to control what people say, but you can always control how you carry yourself through it. Stillness is not the absence of emotion, it's the presence of discipline. It's choosing to stay centered when everything around you tries to pull you off balance. It's the decision to protect your energy instead of wasting it on what doesn't matter. You see, when you react to everything, you become predictable, easy to manipulate, easy to offend. But when you stay still, people can't figure you out. They don't know if they've won. They don't know what you're thinking. And that uncertainty, that's your advantage. Stillness isn't silence for the sake of silence. It's silence with purpose. It's observation. It's wisdom. It's self-control. It gives you space to think, to choose your response instead of being ruled by your emotion. And often, it doesn't just protect your peace, it ends the battle before it starts. When someone throws fire at you, don't throw it back. Let it burn out in your stillness. When someone tries to pull you into chaos, stand firm. Let them spin, let them yell. You don't have to match their storm with your own. Let others react. You reflect. Let others explode. You exhale. That's how you win, not by overpowering others, but by never giving them power over you in the first place. So, remember, not every insult deserves a response. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every storm requires movement. Sometimes the sharpest response is none at all. Just stillness, just peace, just strength, standing silent. Number 9. Even explanation can be ego. Be honest. How many times have you explained yourself, not because it was necessary, but because you didn't want to look wrong? How often have you given long reasons, detailed backstories, and careful justifications, not to bring clarity, but to protect your image? That's not clarity, that's ego. Sometimes the need to explain comes from fear, but other times it comes from pride. The pride of wanting to be seen a certain way. The pride of needing others to understand us, agree with us, approve of us. We don't want to look foolish. We don't want to be misread. So we start talking, not to bring peace, but to protect our identity. And in those moments, explanation becomes a disguise, a subtle attempt to keep control, to manage how we're seen, to shape the narrative so we don't feel exposed. But here's the truth. You don't need to defend your every move. You don't need to explain your every thought. You don't need to wrap every decision in a speech. If your actions are grounded in principle, let them stand on their own. Because sometimes, the more you explain, the more you reveal your attachment to being right. The more you talk, the more it becomes about you. Not the truth, not the result, just you. And the Stoic path is not about you, it's about what's right. Think of Epictetus. He said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That's the test. Can you keep doing what's right, even if no one understands it? Can you stay silent, even when your ego is screaming, "Explain yourself"? That's strength. Because when you stop explaining, you leave room for dignity. You leave room for discipline. You leave room for your actions to speak louder than your pride ever could. You don't need to be seen as perfect. You don't need to prove you were justified. Sometimes things just are. Sometimes your silence will teach more than your words ever could. Ask yourself, is this explanation for peace or for pride? Is this explanation helpful, or is it just an ego trying to clean itself up? Because when you act with true confidence, you don't need to talk about it. You don't need to defend your every choice like you're on trial. You know your heart. You know your reasons. You know what you stand for. And that's enough. Let others wonder, let others misjudge, let others assume. That's not your fight. The Stoic doesn't rush to be understood. He doesn't force people to see things his way. He simply walks his path, in silence if needed, with his head held high. Because the truth always surfaces. And until then, your peace is more important than your ego. So when the urge rises to over-explain, to justify, to clear your name, pause. Ask yourself, who is this for? And if the answer is pride, walk away. Let go of the need to always be seen as right. Let go of the need to always be understood. Let go of the ego hidden inside the explanation. And in that quiet, you'll find something far stronger. Self-respect, stillness, freedom. Number 10. Live in accordance with nature, not narrative. You weren't born to play a role. You weren't made to fit into someone else's idea of success, status, or identity. You were created by nature to grow, to learn, to struggle, to change, to live. But somewhere along the way, society gave you a script, and without even realizing it, you started reading from it. You started following the narrative. Be this kind of person. Think this way. Chase this job, this title, this lifestyle. Act like you have it all together, even when you don't. And so you did. You dressed the part. You spoke the words. You pursued the things that looked good on paper. But deep down, something still felt off. Something didn't sit right. That's because you weren't living in accordance with nature. You were living inside a story someone else wrote. Stoicism teaches the opposite. It teaches you to live simply, honestly, aligned with nature, not image. It tells you to look within, not around. Nature doesn't pretend. Nature doesn't perform. A tree doesn't try to be another tree. A river doesn't compare itself to a mountain. It just flows. It just grows. You must do the same. Ask yourself, what feels natural to me? Not easy, natural. What aligns with my values, my instincts, my reason? Not what looks good in a caption. Not what sounds impressive at a dinner table. But what makes sense to the deeper part of me that doesn't need praise to feel right? Because the narrative is always changing. What they admire today, they'll mock tomorrow. What's considered success today will be forgotten in a decade. You can spend your whole life chasing the story and still feel lost. Or you can walk with nature, slow, present, grounded, and feel free. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily to return to nature. He wrote about not being distracted by fame, comfort, or popularity. Because he knew those things pull you away from your path. They make you perform. They make you forget who you are. You weren't made to perform. You were made to live. Living according to nature means taking care of your body, not punishing it to fit an image. It means using your mind, not numbing it with distractions. It means working with purpose, not chasing titles that leave you empty. It means accepting change, accepting challenge, accepting loss, because all of it is part of the natural rhythm of life. Narratives say, you must always be happy. Nature says, you will feel joy and pain, and both are part of your growth. Narratives say, you must be perfect. Nature says, you are flawed and still worthy. Narratives say, you must always be seen. Nature says, you can grow in silence. The more you chase the narrative, the more anxious you'll become. The more you obey nature, the more peace you'll find. One demands performance, the other gives you freedom. So unplug from the noise. Step outside the script. Let go of who you're supposed to be. and return to who you are when nothing is being sold to you, when no one is watching, when it's just you and the truth. Because that version of you, that simple, calm, honest version, is the strongest one. Live by nature, not trends, not algorithms, not empty applause. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to live well. And that begins the moment you stop following the narrative and start following your nature. Number 11. Let the results speak, but be silent even then. Do the work, walk the path, build something real, then say nothing. In a world where everyone is busy announcing what they're going to do, what they just did, how hard they're working, how proud they are of themselves, you need to be different. You need to be quiet. Because results don't need noise. They don't need captions. They don't need applause. They stand on their own. But here's the test. Can you succeed and stay silent? Can you win and not need the world to clap for it? Can you accomplish something real and still walk away like you never needed anyone to notice? That's stoic. That's discipline. That's power. Anyone can post a plan. Anyone can shout about effort. Anyone can brag when they've finished something. But the Stoic builds without the performance. The Stoic is not moved by recognition. He is moved by purpose. He's not loud in defeat, and he's even quieter in victory. You see, pride doesn't just show up when you fail. It shows up when you win. It whispers, tell them, show them, make sure they know who you are now. But you don't have to. You already know who you are. That's enough. Let your actions do the talking. Let your consistency tell the story. Let your results, your discipline, your transformation speak for you. And when they do, stay silent anyway. Because the moment you need others to recognize your success, you give it away. You turn it into a product, something for approval. But if you can win quietly, without needing anything back, you own it, fully. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Don't go on discussing what a good person should be. Just be one." That applies here too. Don't talk about how hard you're working. Don't announce your progress. Don't campaign for credit. Just work. Just live. Just become. Let others be surprised. Let them find out in time. Let them wonder how you moved so far ahead without ever making noise. It's not about hiding your success. It's about not being owned by it. It's about staying grounded, centered, unattached. Because the more you need attention, the less you're in control. The more you need validation, the less you're walking your own path. So next time you hit a goal, finish a project, change your life, don't rush to post it. Don't rush to tell anyone. Sit with it. Let the silence be your victory speech. Let your peace be your celebration. That's real confidence. That's what people don't understand. It takes more strength to succeed in silence than to fail loudly. So don't broadcast your journey. Don't announce your wins. Don't beg to be seen. Just build. Just grow. Just keep walking. And when the results come, nod quietly. Keep your head down and get back to work. Because the Stoic doesn't need recognition. He needs purpose. He needs discipline. He needs nothing but the next step forward. Number 12. Others' judgment is outside the circle of control. You can do everything right and still be judged. You can speak with kindness, act with honesty, live with discipline, and still be misunderstood. People will form opinions about you based on their own fears, their own wounds, their own stories. And no matter what you do, you cannot control it. So stop trying. Others' judgment is outside the circle of control. That's a core teaching of Stoicism. And once you truly understand it, your life becomes lighter, simpler, freer. Think of your mind as a circle. Inside that circle are the things you can control: your thoughts, your actions, your choices, your reactions. That's your space. That's your power. Everything outside of that, opinions, rumors, labels, assumptions, is noise. It's dust in the wind, and trying to grab it only makes you lose your balance. Ask yourself, how much energy have I wasted trying to be understood? How much peace have I sacrificed just to fix someone else's false opinion of me? Too much. And for what? The truth is, people don't see you as you. They see you as a reflection of themselves. If they're angry, they'll see offense where there is none. If they're insecure, they'll see arrogance in your confidence. If they're jealous, they'll see your wins as threats. That's not your fault. That's not your problem. And it's not your job to fix. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "I have to go to meet what lies ahead with the confidence of one who knows he has done no wrong and that it does not matter what others think." That's it. Stay within your circle. Stay with your principles. If your conscience is clear, you're free. Don't explain your choices to everyone. Don't defend your character every time someone throws doubt. Don't try to bend yourself into a version that offends no one, because that version doesn't exist. And here's the irony. The more you chase approval, the more you'll be judged for needing it. The more you explain, the more they'll question. The more you defend, the weaker you'll appear. So stop playing that game. You weren't made to be understood by everyone. You were made to walk with purpose, to act with courage, to live with self-respect, even if the crowd disagrees. Let people talk. Let them assume. Let them judge. That's their story. Stay in yours. Because when you start living for your own standard, when you start acting based on what's right instead of what's liked, something changes. You stop flinching. You stop explaining. You stop shrinking. You just walk forward, quietly, clearly, powerfully. Judgment will follow you, but so will peace. So remember this. Every time you start worrying about what they're thinking, ask yourself, is this inside my circle of control? If it's not, release it. Let it go. Return to what is yours, your discipline, your choices, your truth. That's where your freedom lives. Let others waste their time watching you. You keep walking, keep building, keep rising. Their judgment is not your responsibility. Your peace is. Number 13. Silence builds the self. Speech weakens it. Talk less. Sit with yourself more. That's how strength is built, not in the noise, but in the stillness. The more you speak, the more of yourself you give away. Every word is energy. Every thought you speak before it matures is a piece of your power, exposed too soon. Stoicism teaches restraint, not because speaking is wrong, but because silence is where clarity grows. When you speak too often, too easily, too quickly, you lose the edge. You lose the focus. You lose the quiet room where your thoughts become sharp and your character becomes real. Ask yourself, why do I speak so much? To connect, or to avoid stillness, to help, or to be noticed, to express truth, or to show off who I think I am? Because here's the truth. Most speech is ego in disguise. It wants attention. It wants approval. It wants to be heard so badly, it forgets to ask, is this worth saying? Silence, on the other hand, doesn't need anything. It holds space. It allows thoughts to deepen. It makes room for discipline, reflection, self-awareness. That's where the self is built. Not when you speak, but when you stop. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." And in that silence, you see more, you learn more, you grow more, because instead of performing who you are, you begin becoming who you are. Speech is tempting, especially when you feel strong, when you think you're right, when you want others to know what you've figured out. But real power doesn't rush to be heard. Real power doesn't interrupt the silence to prove itself. It waits, it holds, it observes. And because of that, it grows. Every time you stay quiet when your ego wants to speak, you train your mind. Every time you pause instead of respond, you gain control. Every time you sit in silence when you could be filling space with words, you strengthen the self. Not everything needs to be said. Not every feeling needs to be expressed. Not every idea needs to be shared. Some things are meant to stay with you, to form you, to shape you internally before ever becoming external. When you speak too much, you spread yourself thin. Your identity becomes performative. Your thoughts get diluted. Your presence becomes noise. But when you're silent, you become concentrated, intentional, strong. And when you finally do speak, it matters. So protect your energy. Speak less. Say only what must be said. Let your silence do the heavy lifting. Let it train your discipline, sharpen your awareness, anchor your soul. You don't need to announce who you are becoming, just become. You don't need to explain your thoughts. Let your actions make them clear. You don't need to constantly be heard. Be felt in your quiet strength, because every time you choose silence, you're choosing to build. Every time you resist the urge to speak for validation, you're becoming more complete, more secure, more real. Speech takes, silence gives, speech exposes, silence protects, speech flatters the ego, silence feeds the soul. So be still, say less, hold your ground, and let silence make you solid. Number 14. Be the mystery they cannot decipher. Don't be easy to read. Don't be predictable. Don't hand your entire self over for the world to analyze, pick apart, and label. In a time where everyone is oversharing, over-explaining, and constantly trying to be understood, choose silence. Choose restraint. Choose to be the one they can't figure out. There's power in being unknown. Not hidden, but unreadable. Not fake, but untouchable. When people know everything about you, they can control you. When they can predict your moves, they can manipulate your path. But when you move with quiet purpose, when you carry your goals in silence, when you act without announcing, people watch, but they don't know what to make of you, and that gives you power. The Stoics didn't talk about their plans, they lived them. They didn't scream about their principles, they embodied them. They didn't need to be decoded because they didn't care to be understood. They cared to be right, to be strong, to be free. Marcus Aurelius ruled the greatest empire on earth, and still, most of what we know about him comes from the pages he wrote to himself. Not the world, not the Senate, not the people, just himself. He wasn't trying to be a symbol. He was trying to be a man of principle. Be like that. Move with depth. Speak with precision. Share only what needs to be said, and nothing more. Let them guess where you're going. Let them wonder how you stay so calm. Let them sit with the silence you leave behind. Mystery creates strength. It makes people lean in. It forces them to respect what they can't define. Because when you're too open, too available, too explainable, People stop listening. They stop valuing. You become noise. But when you become a mystery, every move you make carries weight. Every word you speak holds meaning. Being a mystery doesn't mean being distant. It means being disciplined with your energy. It means knowing what's sacred and keeping it safe. It means building in silence, healing in silence, winning in silence, and letting the results speak. They'll ask what drives you. Stay silent. They'll wonder how you're so composed. Just nod. They'll dig for your weaknesses. Don't hand them the shovel. Keep your circle tight, your values clear, your presence sharp. Let your actions echo and your silence unsettle. You don't need to be loud to be seen. You don't need to be known to be powerful. You don't need to be understood to be unstoppable. People fear what they can't define. They respect what they can't control. So be the mystery. The one they observe but can't corner. The one they talk about but never really know. The one who moves with purpose, not noise. With confidence, not explanations. With depth, not display. Your strength is in your stillness. Your clarity is in your quiet. And your power is in your mystery. You don't need to explain. Not your path, not your silence, not your decisions. When you walk with purpose, you don't pause to justify. When you live with truth, you don't need applause to feel seen. Let the world wonder. Let them question. Let them whisper. Your job is not to be understood. Your job is to become. You are not here to trade your soul for approval. You are not here to perform your emotions for sympathy. You are not here to explain your values, defend your peace, or prove your worth. You are here to live in alignment, move with discipline, and walk forward, unshaken, unreadable, and free. Now it's your turn. Drop a comment below and write, "I walk my path in silence." Let that be your vow. Let that be your reminder. Let it echo. And if you found strength in these truths, if something in you clicked today, subscribe to the channel. This is just the beginning. There are more tools, more lessons, more moments of clarity ahead. Let's walk the Stoic path together. No noise, no drama, just purpose.